anything. And blocks, if you like them. Um, we'll be doing like pyramid pose. So I like to use them for pyramid pose. And then today we're going to be working on balance. I know that, like I was saying with my heel and our ankles and everything, it's kind of throwing me off. I'm sure everyone else too, not using everything normally. So we're going to really stretch the legs, the ankles, and then work on some balancing poses. So hopefully we'll feel a little better afterwards. Can you guys still hear me okay when I'm back here? Is it loud enough? Yeah. Okay. So we'll get started in a comfortable seated position. And then close your eyes. If you'd like, you can place your hands at heart center. And then quiet your thoughts. Relax your breath. Leave aside whatever may be going on around you and allow this time for yourself. Take a deep breath in and take a long, slow exhale out through your mouth. Again, deep breath in. Long, slow exhale out through your mouth. Do a few rounds of breath like this on your own. With each exhale, let go of anything that doesn't serve you. Any stresses, worry, negativity. Let it all go with the exhale. Do one more round of breath this way. And then return to your natural breath. And slowly start to open your eyes. Place your hands on top of your legs. And then take a deep breath in and shrug your shoulders. And exhale. Then we'll get started with the neck stretch. So today we're just going to bring the right ear over to the right shoulder. Gently stretching out the side of the neck. And kind of keep pushing it until it feels like you've gone far enough, and then just hold it there. And then we're going to start to look up at a diagonal, bringing this side of you have that little bone that sticks out, kind of bringing that towards your shoulder. And then gently roll your chin down to your chest, stretching the back of the neck. And then roll your left ear to your left shoulder. And then start to look up at a diagonal. And then roll the chin back down to the chest. And then just give your head a couple of full neck rolls one way. And then switch. And bring the head back up to center, sitting up tall. Then we'll do some shoulder rolls. So just nice big rolls, rolling the shoulders back. And then rolling them forward. And then alternating. And go the other way. And then inhale, bringing the shoulders up to the ears one more time. Exhale, open the chest, slide the shoulder blades down the back. Next, we're going to bring the right hand down on the floor beside you and bring your left arm up and over, stretching over to the right. You can bend your elbow if you need to, or if you need more stretch, you can even walk your hand out a little bit farther, but stretch through the top fingertips, stretching the whole left side of your body. Try to keep your left sitting bone on the mat if possible. And come back up to center, and we'll switch sides. Left hand goes down, right arm stretches up and over. And then come back up to center. Next, we're going to do our toe squat or toe crusher. If you need your blocks for that, go ahead and grab them. So we're going to come up onto the knees and bend your toes. Try to squeeze your ankles together, keep them together if possible. And then if you are used to this pose, you're just going to sit back on top of your heels. If this is new to you, you can use your blocks or your thighs to gently go into it, or your feet may be a little more stiff than normal. So in that case, also take it easy on that. It is a pretty intense stretch. Breathe through it. Nice deep breaths. One more deep breath here. And then come forward onto your hands and knees. Tap the tops of your feet out on your mat. Next, we're going to sit back on the feet. We're going to do an ankle stretch. If you have a blanket or anything close by, you can place that under your knees if this is a little bit much for you today. But we're going to lean back on the hands. That might be enough. You could stay there, or if you could use more stretch, lift your knees up or put your knees up on a blanket so you get just a little bit more stretch, or you can lift them up as much as it feels okay. Sometimes people even want to come down to their elbows. Just take what you need here, stretching out the tops of the feet and ankles. Taking deep breaths. One more breath here. And then walk back up. And we're going to bring the legs back around sitting. And kind of roll your ankles out a little bit if you need to. And then we're going to move into fire log pose. So we'll place the right shin in front, making it parallel with your mat. And then the left shin directly on top of that. If your knee pops up, that's okay. You can even place a block underneath that knee if you need to. And if this just doesn't feel good for you today, you can sit in cross-leg pose. From here, you can stay upright, or you can bring your fingertips out in front of you. That might be enough, or if you could use more of a hip opener, just walk your hands forward as much as it feels okay. Maybe come down onto your elbows. And you might be able to make a forearm pillow. You can also put blocks under your forehead, making a block tower if that feels better. Breathe into the hips. Let them start to open up. And take one more breath here. And then we'll come up onto the fingertips and slowly walk back in. And then we're going to switch the top and bottom legs. If you decided to do cross-leg pose, just switch the cross of your legs. And again, you can stay upright, or you can bring your fingertips out in front of you, Staying there or walking forward any amount. Just go nice and slow, breathing into the hips. Let them start to open up, releasing the tension. One more breath here. And then come up onto your fingertips and slowly walk back in. Next, we're going to come into staff pose. Bringing your legs straight out in front of you. Sitting up tall. And then we're going to inhale, stretching the arms up into the air. Take a moment to really stretch here. And then come forward. You don't have to go your farthest just yet. You can bend your knees if you need to. Maybe wiggle the knees out. And then inhale, slowly sliding back in, stretching the arms up, taking a moment to really stretch. And then coming forward, this time go to wherever you get the best stretch. You may have your strap with you. If you'd rather do it that way, you can put that strap around your feet, if that's a little more doable. And then start to lift your head. And we're going to take the right hand outside of the left foot and start to lift this left arm straight out to your side. You can stay with that or twist all the way open to the left. We're getting an even deeper stretch in the left leg and opening up the chest and shoulders. And then bring that hand all the way around to the outside of your right foot. Start to lift the right hand out to the side. You can keep it there or twist open to the right. And bring the hand back to the foot. Fold forward one more time. And then release the feet and slowly roll back up to sitting in staff pose, sitting up tall, opening the chest. Then we're going to swing the legs around and come into onto our hands and knees for cat-cow. So make sure that your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders, your knees are directly under your hips, and your feet are in line with your knees. And then we're going to start out rounding the spine, pressing the spine up towards the ceiling, tucking the chin for cat. And then drop the belly, lift the chin for cow. Round for cat. Drop and lift for cow. And move through a few of these with your own breath. Let's do one more cat. And one more cow. And then return to a neutral spine. Next, we're going to take the right foot out behind you. So you're going to place your big toe straight out behind you on the floor. Then you're going to take that toe over to the left, just wherever it feels good. We're looking for a stretch down the right side. So wherever you find that, you can stay with just that, or you can kind of look over towards that toe, increasing the side stretch even more. Bring the head back to center, bring the toe back to center, set that knee down, and then we'll lift the left foot straight out behind you, toe on the floor, and then lifting that toe, bringing it out and over to the right. You can stay with just that or maybe start to look over towards that toe, stretching your left side. And bring the toe back to the mat, bring the knee back to the mat. And you can kind of just circle around, stretching out the wrists a little bit. And circle the other way. Coming back to center. Next, we're gonna lift the right arm straight out in front of you, left leg straight out behind you. Stretching through the fingers and the toes, engaging the core, pressing the belly button up towards the spine. And then we're gonna bring the right arm out to the right, left leg out to the left. And then bring it back in. Bring it out. Back in. One more time. Bring it out and hold it there. And then bring it in. Stretch through the fingers and the toes one more time. And then set them both back down. Readjust. And then we'll lift the left arm, right leg. Stretching through the fingers and the toes, engaging the core. And then bring the left arm out to the left, right leg out to the right. Bring it back in. And back up. Back in. Good, one more time, bringing it out and hold. And then bring it back in, stretching through the fingers and the toes one more time. And then set that back down. And next, you can turn your fingers either to the sides of your mat or back towards your knees. Getting another wrist stretch. You can just keep it here, or you can lean back a little bit or circle around. You circle around, switch directions, and go the other way. And then bringing your fingers and hands back to normal. You can do some wrist circles along the way there. And then next we're going to move into a plank. Your knees can be up or down. So if your knees are down, we're going to walk the knees back. Make sure that your wrists are over your shoulders, kind of drop the hips a little bit. And if you want to come into a full plank, tuck your toes, lift your knees. Try to keep your hips in line with the rest of your body. Really engaging the core. And then if you're not on your knees, drop your knees back down. Take a breath, shake that out. We're going to do some side planks. I'm going to show it with the knee down, but if you want to take it to a full side plank, you can. So we're going to start out with the knees down if you're doing it that way. We're going to take the toes off to the side, so probably on the floor, off beside you. And then we're going to balance on the right knee, right hand, left foot comes out straight, and then lift the left arm up into the air. Stretching open through the chest. Bring it back to center. We'll switch sides. So left toes come out. Balancing on the left knee, left hand. Stretching the right arm up into the air, opening the chest. Good, and then bring it back to center, back to hands and knees. Next, we're going to just go ahead and sit back into a child's pose and stretch your arms up to the top of the mat. Take a couple breaths here. Maybe do wrist circles while you're down there. And then we'll come back up onto hands and knees. We're going to tuck the toes and press back into a bent leg downward dog. Really bending the knees at first, as if you're trying to get your ribs and your thighs to touch. Notice your shoulders here, how straight, you're kind of at an angle. And then you can start to straighten your legs. If your shoulders round and come forward, keep the knees bent. This is more important to keep your shoulders the way that they are here. So only if your shoulders aren't rounding, press your heels towards the mat, straightening your leg. Then we're going to walk the hands back to the feet, coming into forward fold. And then half lift, flattening the back, straightening the legs, and forward fold. And then sweeping the arms up, reverse swan dive, standing up tall, stretching up, and then bringing the arms down. And then inhale, sweep the arms back up, and swan dive, forward fold. Half lift, forward fold. And then we'll walk the hands out into plank, knees up or knees down, up to you. And then slowly lower down onto your stomach. Point your toes and press up into cobra. Lifting the head, chest, and chin up off of the mat, keeping the elbows bent, and lower down. Then we're gonna tuck the toes, press back to downward dog. Walk your hands back to your feet, forward fold, half lift, forward fold, and then reverse swan dive, sweeping the arms up, stretching up tall, bring the arms back down, and then inhale, sweep the arms up, swan dive, forward fold, half lift, forward fold, and then walk your hands out into plank and lower down. Point your toes, press up into cobra, lower down, tuck your toes, press back, downward dog. Walk your hands back to your feet, forward fold, half lift, forward fold, and then reverse swan dive, sweeping the arms up and bringing the arms down. One more time, sweep the arms up, swan dive, forward fold, half lift, forward fold, and then walk your hands out into plank and lower down. Point your toes, press up into cobra, lower down, tuck the toes, press back, downward dog. Press your heels down towards the mat. And then walk your hands back to your feet, forward fold. And next we're gonna do a hand to foot pose. So Padahastasana, I believe is how, yes, Padahastasana. So what we're going to do is, I'm gonna start with the left foot so you can see. Lift your left toes up off of the mat and then stick your left hand underneath your toes so the top of your hand is on the mat. You can have your knees bent. And then set your foot down on your hand. Same thing on the other side. Lift the toes, stick that hand underneath, and then let your head drop, folding forward. See if you can straighten your knees even just a little bit more. And then one foot at a time, release your hands. Come into a half lift, forward fold. And then slowly, one vertebra at a time, roll up to standing in mountain pose, making your head the last thing to come up. Grab water if you need to. I'm going to readjust this. Hopefully, we're going to be standing now. I have to put you on the floor. Grab water if you need to grab water. I'm going to try to get this figured out. Sorry. We'll try that. We're going to start out standing in mountain pose. And then sweep your arms up into the air, stretching up tall. And then bring your palms together. Cross your thumbs. And then stretch up even more. Good. Then we're going to press the hips out to the left and crescent over to the right. Squeezing the arms. See if you can bring the left shoulder back at all. And then stretch back up. And then we'll stretch over to the left. Pressing the hips out to the right, squeezing the arms, bringing the right shoulder back. And come back up, stretching up tall. And then release the arms down, swing that out. Good. Next, we're going to turn back. I'm going to turn, you don't necessarily. You're going to come to the back of your mat, standing in mountain pose, sweeping the arms up, swan dive, forward fold. And then from your forward fold, walk your hands out and set your knees down. Then we're going to step the right foot forward in between the hands. And then scoot your left knee back. Place the top of the foot on your mat. You can place blocks underneath your hands if you need to. And then we're gonna lunge forward, finding a stretch in the front of the left hip. And then we're gonna lift the arms straight up into the air, stretching up as tall as you can. And then you can stay with this, or you can come into a crescent lunge. So back bending and looking up at the ceiling, stretching the arms up. Then we're gonna bring the hands back down, and we're gonna tuck the toes and lift that back knee up for a low lunge. And then we're gonna drop this back heel. So your feet are kind of like they're in warrior two, because that's where we're going. And then we're gonna cartwheel the hands up, pressing up into warrior two. Then we're gonna drop the back hand, lift the left arm, or the right arm straight up into the air, reverse warrior. And then come back to warrior two, cartwheel the hands back down into that low lunge, drop the knee, step the right knee back to meet the left, and then we'll bring the left knee or left foot forward in between the hands. And scoot the knee back, top of the foot on the mat, lunging forward, finding the stretch in the front of the right hip first. And then when you're ready, lifting the arms straight up into the air. You can stay with that or add the back bend, looking up at the ceiling. And then bring the hands back down, tuck the toe, lift the knee, drop the back heel, setting up for warrior two. We're gonna push up, cartwheel the hands up and over into warrior two. Drop the back hand, reverse warrior. Come back to warrior two. Cartwheel the hands back down to that low lunge. Drop the knee, bring the knees together. And then we're going to tuck the toes, press up into downward dog. Walk that out a little bit, cuddling your heels. And then walk your hands back to your feet, coming into forward fold. And then slowly roll up to standing. And as you come up, start to lift the arms up over your head. And from here, with the arms up, we're gonna step the right foot forward into a high lunge. I just can't get this angle right for you guys. So come into a high lunge. I'm gonna try to scoop my computer back a little bit. Sorry, decorations fell. Okay, let's see if that's better. So high lunge. Back heel is up, front knee is bent, stretching up tall. Then we're gonna bring the palms together. So your hands are together. And we're gonna bend over and tap the fingers on the mat in front of you. And then we're gonna come up, open up into a warrior two, so dropping the back heel. We're gonna come into that reverse warrior again, dropping the back hand, bringing the right arm up and over. Then we're gonna move into a side angle, so bending the front elbow, stretching the left arm up. You can keep it straight up or bring it parallel with your ears, stretching that whole left side. And then come back up into warrior two. Turn the back foot, lifting the heel up back to the high lunge. Stretching up tall. And then step the back foot forward and step back. We'll do it on the other side. So sweeping the arms up for stretching up tall, seeing if you can bring the left foot forward. I'm going the wrong way. With the arms up, if you can't, it's okay. You can put the arms down and put them up when you get there. Lifting the back heel up off of the mat. Stretching into the high lunge. Then we're going to bring the palms together out in front of you. Bend over and tap the mat. And then come back up, open up into warrior two. And then reverse warrior. And then come into side angle, bending the front elbow, stretching the right arm up. You can bring it, you can keep it up or bring it parallel with your ear and get that whole side stretch. And then come back up to warrior two. Lift the back heel, high lunge. And then step the back foot forward. Step your feet together. Grab water if you need it. Do this one more time. Okay, so now we are going to stand in mountain pose. And then bring the hands at heart center. So we're going to start getting into our balance even more. So we're going to start out balancing on the right foot. So start to lift your left knee up into the air without helping it. Just lift it as high as you can. Using your core. And then open that knee out to the side. And then bring it back to center. We're going to set that foot down and switch right over. So now you're going to balance on the left foot. Lift the right knee up. When it's as high as you can get it, then bring it out to the side. Bring it back in. Set it down. Switching over. Lifting the left knee. Oops, I lost my balance. Bringing it out to the side. Back in. Set it down. Switching sides. Good. This time when you get to lifting your left knee, we're going to add on. So we're still going to lift the left knee. And then bring it out to the side. And then bring it back to the center. Hold it there. And then bring your right hand outside of your knee. Left arm out to the side, just like we did when we were in our stack pose. And then we're going to start to twist open to the left, bringing the left arm behind you. Bring that hand back in, hands at heart center. Set that foot down and switch right over to the next one. Lifting the knee. Bring it out to the side. Bring it back in, add the twist. Left hand outside the knee, right arm out to the side. You can stay with that or twisting open as little or as much as it feels okay to you. Bring that arm back. Bringing the hands up heart center. Set that foot down. Good. Shake that all out. Next, we're going to move on to our tree pose. So this was kind of getting our hips open, our ankles ready for tree pose. Feel free to go up into tree, but I will walk you through it in case you need it. So we're going to start out balancing on the right foot. You can prop your heel up on your ankle, make a little kickstand, or you can place your foot somewhere under your knee, or you can place your foot high up on your thigh, just don't place it right at your knee. And then when your legs are situated, you can add your hands. They can be at heart center. They can stretch up overhead. And then if you want to add a little bit more, bring your index finger and your thumb together on your left hand. And then slowly start to drop that hand down. And then bring it back up. Stretch up tall one more time. And release. Shake that out. And we'll do it all on the other side. So balancing on the left foot, either propping the heel up on the ankle, placing your foot somewhere under your knee, or high up on your thigh. When you're ready, adding the hands. And then if you'd like to add that little extra balance work, bring your index finger and thumb together of your right hand. Slowly start to drop the right hand down. And then slowly bring it back up. Stretch up tall one more time. And then release and shake that all out. Next, we'll be coming into our pyramid pose. So if you like your blocks for that, go ahead and grab the blocks. We're going to start out standing at the back of your mat. And we're going to step forward with the right foot. So your feet are going straight ahead. You have kind of a narrow stance and not super long. And then you want to square your hips up with the top of your mat. And then we'll start to hinge forward. Place in your blocks or your hands. Your hands can go to your shin if you don't have blocks, or your hands can go to the floor if you can reach the floor with no problem. So you can stay here with your blocks at any level. You can stay with a flat back, and that gives you a really good stretch. Or if you need a little bit more, you can start to fold over the right leg, kind of bringing your nose in line with your knee. You can come down farther on your blocks. Make sure you're squaring the hips up, so bring your left hip forward, right hip back. If you need to bend your knees, you can bend your knees, but ideally you want straight knees. Folding into the pose, nice deep breaths. It's another intense stretch, but it's a good one. Take one more breath to see if you have any deeper to fold here. And then slowly start to lift your head, coming back to that flat back. And you can step your feet together and slowly roll back up. You're going to come to the back of the mat. Do it on the other side. So now stepping forward with your left foot, squaring your hips up. Toes are both going straight ahead. And then with a flat back to start, hinging forward, starting to place your hands or your blocks on the floor right underneath your shoulders. You can stay here, or if you'd like a little bit more, folding forward, bringing your nose towards your knee. Maybe coming down on the blocks, or if you're on your shin, maybe going down a little further. Make sure the hips are squared, so bring your right hip forward and left hip back. And then take one more breath to see if you have any deeper to fold. And slowly start to lift your head, coming back to the flat back. Step your feet together. And you can move the blocks aside if you'd like. And slowly, one vertebra at a time, rolling up to standing. Stand in mountain pose. Opening your chest, bringing your shoulders under your ears. And then we're going to bend the knees and come into a yoga huddle. Stretching the back a little bit. Hands on top of the thighs. And then come into a forward fold. And half lift. And forward fold. And then we're going to come down onto hands and knees. We're going to do a thread the needle pose. So you're going to lift your right arm out to the side, or lift it up if you want to add a little twist first. And then bring the right arm and thread it underneath your left arm, placing your head and your shoulder on the mat. If your head doesn't comfortably go to the mat, you can place your head on a block. And then from here, you can stay with this, or you can walk that left arm out to straight, maybe coming back more on your shoulder. If you want to take it even deeper, you can kind of bind this left arm, so bring it behind you, tucking it on to the right side, maybe tucking your fingers in between your thigh and your side. And then bring that left hand back under the shoulder. Unthread the right arm, stretching it however it feels good to you. And then set it back down. Then we're going to stretch the left arm up. And thread it underneath the right arm, placing your shoulder and your head on a block or on the mat. you want to take it a little farther, you can walk the right arm out to straight. Maybe taking that bind, bringing the right arm behind you, tucking it. And then bringing that right arm back under your shoulder, pressing up onto that hand, stretching the left arm out, however it feels good. And then bring that hand back down to the mat. And then we'll sit back. Well, first bring your knees wide. Sorry, bring your knees to the edges of your mat, and then sit back for a wide knee child's pose, stretching the arms to the top of the mat. Take a couple of deep breaths here, feeling your body start to sink into the mat. And then one more breath. And we'll lift the head and slowly walk or slide the hands back in, coming up to seated. And we're going to swing the legs around. We'll come to laying down. So make sure that you have your strap within reach so you don't have to get up and get it when it's time. So we'll lay down on the mat. Starting out with the feet on the mat, knees bent. And then shrug your shoulders up to your ears and slide your shoulder blades down your back. And then using your stomach muscles, press your lower back into the mat. Hold it there so when it feels like you're pressing, like all of your back is touching the mat, that's where we're holding. And then release. But then next we're gonna press the lower back into the mat and then lift your hips up off of the mat. Lifting as high as it feels okay. Try to keep your knees in line with your hips. Arms are pressing into the mat. And then slowly lowering down. And you can hug your knees into your chest. Rock side to side if that feels good. And then bring it back to center. Set both feet down on the mat. Go ahead and grab your strap. It's rolled up, unroll the strap. And I'm going to start with my left foot just so you can see what I'm doing on this side. So you can start on your right if you'd like, but putting the strap around your foot, whichever one you decide to do first, and then stretching that leg up towards straight. So you want to flex the foot, make it look like it's standing on the ceiling, stretching the back of your leg. Your right foot can be on the mat with your knee bent, or you can go ahead and straighten it out. You will probably want to straighten it out for the next two, but this one, it doesn't matter, just whatever feels good. Breathing into the back of the leg. Relax your facial features, soften your jaw. And then place the straps into your left hand or your hand that's the same as your leg. And we're going to drop that leg open to the left. So just going straight out, stretching the inside of the leg. And then bring that leg back up towards straight. Switch hands, so the straps will go in the opposite hand. And then you're going to bring that leg across and over to the other side. You can bring the left arm out into T And then you can look straight up at the ceiling or look over your left fingertips. Just looking away from the foot, stretching the hip. And then bring that leg back up towards straight, stretching it out one more time. Maybe giving it a little tug, seeing if you can get it a little straighter or maybe a little closer to you than you did at first. And then remove that foot from the strap. Point the toes up into the air and slowly lower that leg long along the mat. When the foot reaches the mat, really stretch through the toes. And then we'll do it on the other side, placing the strap around your other foot and bringing that leg up towards straight. You keep the left foot on the mat or go ahead and straighten that leg out. Flex your foot, make it look like it's standing on the ceiling. And just breathing into the back of the leg. Notice the space in between your eyebrows. Try to let that relax. Imagine your eyebrows melting away from each other. And then we're going to place both of the straps. For me, it's my right hand, same hand as your foot that you have in the strap. And then drop that leg open to the side. You may want to straighten your left leg out here if you haven't already. Getting a nice stretch on the inside of the right leg. If you'd like, you can place your left hand on your left hip. And then bring that leg back up towards center. Switch hands with the strap. And then drop that leg over to the left or to the opposite side of the leg. And bring your other arm out into T. And then either look straight up at the ceiling or look over your right fingertips. Make a little twist. And then bring that leg back up towards center, straightening it out one more time. Maybe getting it a little straighter or maybe even a little bit closer to you than you did at first. And then remove that foot from the strap. Point the right toe up into the air and set your strap aside. And then slowly lower that leg along the mat. When the foot reaches the mat, stretch through the right toes. And then also stretch through the left toes. And then lift your arms up overhead for a full body stretch. Taking a nice deep breath here. And then if you'd like, you can hug your knees into your chest one more time. Maybe rock side to side, or maybe windshield wiper the knees back and forth. Just whatever movement you feel like you need before Shavasana. And then when you're ready, Go ahead and come to laying on your back. Bring each leg out onto the mat. Letting your feet drop open. Letting your shoulders drop into the mat. Getting ready for Shavasana. Close your eyes. Quiet your thoughts. And relax your breath. Allow your body to take in your yoga practice. And starting with the top of your head, imagine the tension melting out of your forehead, out of your jaw, and out of your neck. Then imagine the tension melting out of your chest and shoulders, arms and hands. Imagine the tension melting out of your back, abdomen, hips, legs, and feet until your whole body is completely relaxed. You have nothing to do for the next few minutes, but relax. Shavasana. Start to bring your awareness back to your body. Start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. Make some wrist circles, ankle circles. And then let your head drop over to the left. And then over to the right. And then when you're ready, roll over onto your side, pausing there for a moment. Taking a deep breath there. And then when you're ready, push yourself up to seated with your eyes closed. If you'd like, you can place your hands at heart center. And then take a nice deep breath here. Take a moment to notice how you feel. Hopefully you feel less tension in your body. Hopefully you feel a little more balanced. And hopefully you feel a little more peace. May you be able to take this with you throughout the rest of your day. Thank you for your practice and your presence. Namaste. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you,
Have a
Tiffanie.
great day. Next Saturday, I'm going to be teaching a mellow flow, which I'm excited about. I'm going to kind of branch it off of some of the things that we did today. So if you come back for that, you'll be familiar with some things. We're just going to kind of flow through some things a little bit more. So should be fun, and hopefully you'll come back for that.